Welcome to Security Weekly. I am your host, Matt Alderman. We are recording live day 2 at Black Hat 2019. We're in the suite at Mandalay Bay. Joining me for this interview is Michael Krueger. You are the Technical Services Lead and Senior Mobile Security Analyst at NowSecure.
I am.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
So we're going to talk mobile apps. My background is a lot container security and application, but I didn't spend much time doing things around mobile apps. So let's start first with some of the challenges around mobile applications.
Okay.
First, just in some of the nuances between maybe a mobile app versus a web app or something like that. Just kind of set the tone for us first.
Sure. So mobile applications a little different, right? Like they operate on a handset. So everybody kind of thinks web app. Okay, desktop. This is I know the platform. I know what I can go after. I understand it. It's been how many years now that web apps have been around, so it's a known entity. Mobile, it's new, it's evolving. The platforms are evolving a lot faster than anything we've ever seen before, and it's a new entity. But the interesting thing is, it's what 50, 60, 70% of the market now, and it's only increasing. So that's the challenge, is just keeping up with the new technology, keeping up with the new demands for mobile, and how do you secure that as part of that?
Yeah, and each of the mobile platforms are a little different from a security perspective. Like iOS and the way it kind of isolates applications are different than on Android, for example, right?
Absolutely.
And so when you're thinking about developing an application, putting it into an app store, if you put it in the Apple's app store, it has certain capabilities. And if you put it in a Google Play, for example, for Android, it's different there because they run differently on those different platforms. That's a challenge too, right?
Oh, absolutely. And then you think about Android in itself, the platforms are different. You've got how many different types of handsets here in the US, around the globe. You've got Android appliances, boxes, those sort of things as well. Those all run mobile apps, but all of their intricacies are slightly different. The way that data is stored on it, the way that data is accessed on it, the way that you as a user would view that or operate that's drastically different from, say, something on a Apple device.
Right.
So
Do you do testing the same on a mobile app than you would a web app? So in the world of web app, right? You do you do a static analysis of code. You might throw it into put in runtime and run a dynamic scan against a kind of black box, or you'll do an interactive, or do you do the same types of tests, or are they different for mobile applications?
So I think the concept is the same, right? You still want to do the same things. You want to statically analyze code, or in our case, binaries. You still want to dynamically test. You want to use it. You want to see where you can create edge cases, how you can create issues in the application. But the tests themselves, yeah, they are different. They hail from the web app sort of mentality, but they're definitely different, right? You have to think about with mobile apps, you have to consider that the platform on which they run to be compromised. You have to assume that, and I think with web apps, you don't have a lot of control over what it runs on. You don't know necessarily. You kind of you assume that the browser takes care of that security.
Right.
With mobile, that's not the case. You have to assume that the environment is hostile. You have to assume that the handset is completely compromised. And you take that mentality, and that's how you start your testing.
Got it. Because if I compromise the phone, I potentially can compromise other things if I'm storing them locally on the phone, for example.
Absolutely.
Right? So biometric hashes, if you're using biometrics for authentication, or password hashes, or other types of things that you would store locally could be easily compromised on a mobile, and therefore potentially compromise the app, which is a little different than a web app, right?
Absolutely.
Even though we have lots of examples of doing that on web apps too.
Exactly. And that platform, that travels with you. Inherently, it's a mobile device,
Right.
so you're exposing that to a much wider environment where it can be lost, stolen, or otherwise compromised physically
Right,
too.
right. All right, so let's talk about NowSecure. How do you actually help people with mobile testing? What are those different solutions that you offer, and how do they work for people that are looking to do aspects of this?
So NowSecure offers a wide suite of solutions. So we offer a couple of cloud-based solutions that are completely automated security
Mm,
testing. So we like to focus on that because what's one of the hardest problems with testing? It's just manpower, time, depth of coverage, all of
right.
those issues that come into it. Well, we focus on how can we automate that?
Hmm.
How can we go deeper without having a man in that loop? How do we go faster without having somebody in that loop? And so that's where our platform, our Now Secure platform, really focuses on. So it's completely automated, but it's also real devices that we test on. We have,
Oh, got it.
yeah,
So you're actually taking their code,
we are.
putting it on various types of devices, and then running different scans against them to see how they perform and hold up?
Absolutely. So
Oh,
we
interesting.
actually installed their app on our platform on one of our devices. We have an intelligent agent that runs it
Mm.
without anybody touching it. It runs it, and while it's running it, while it's operating it, it navigates through the app, it clicks buttons, it enters text. While it's doing that, a slew of tests are being performed in the background.
Mm.
Dynamic tests, we're running static scans against the code that has been uploaded. We're doing all of that automatically.
That's really nice because, testing's a pain in the butt.
It is.
Uh, it is, and then you get this big report at the end, and you hand it to the developers, and you go, okay, here's all the things you need to fix. Um, but if you can automate a lot of that and then hand that back to that team pretty quickly, probably makes that cycle a lot shorter to get their applications tested and up into the stores, which is where they need
Absolutely.
them.
And let me tell you why developers like it. It's actually built in to their development cycle. It's built into their CI/CD process. So when they cut a new build, when they create
Hmm.
a new version of their app, it can be automatically sent to us, tested, and all of the issues that we find automatically sent back into their bug tracking system.
Perfect. We just did a segment right before this on DevSecOps. And I'm a big believer in integrating security into the DevOps pipeline. But if you don't do it right, it's never going to get adopted. And that is
Absolutely.
make it really easy for the developers to use the
Hmm.
tool, whatever it is, and make sure that the results are integrated back into their tool set, whether it's Slack or HipChat or Jira or what other
What have you.
bug
Yeah.
tracking system they have, because then they'll get the data available to them. They're like, oh, yeah, I got to make this fix. They send it back through the pipeline, automatically goes through, no more bugs. They're done. And it's already past security, and,
Exactly.
and the security team's not giving you this big 300-page report on the other side.
We don't want to be the no team. We want to be the how do we enable you
Yes,
to get stuff done.
that's awesome. What about, so you said the cloud solution,
Correct.
but there must be some other tools?
Yeah, so we also have an on-premise solution as well. Not everybody is able to, we have a lot of federal clients as well where they're just
Mm-hmm.
not able to send their applications to the cloud, right? So
Right.
they need another solution. So we actually offer a couple of different on-premise solutions, that automated solution as well.
Okay.
We do offer an on-prem solution, and then we also have a deep dive self-contained kit. And that's actually how I came to the company, was learning about that kit.
Mm.
So I was actually a customer long before I worked at NowSecure.
So you move, as I would say to some people, you move to the dark side.
I did, but it's been the best move ever.
Awesome. How is it priced? I don't know. Is it priced based on mobile number of mobile apps? Just how do people buy?
It is. It's based on number of apps tested,
Okay.
the frequency of testing. So we have a lot of different bands that we price out, but it comes down to how many apps do you have? How frequently do you want to
Test
test?
them. Okay.
Exactly.
Perfect. If anybody wants to learn more, where should they go? What resources do you want to point them to?
Like to tell them, go to nowsecure.com. We have a slew of resources there. Anything you want, we've got blog posts, we've got webinars. We offer all of that free of charge. We've got a couple ebooks up there.
Mm.
I should point out that we do sponsor two open source projects, Frida and Radare.
Okay.
So we're a big proponent of open source. We want to,
Give back to the
we want to
community.
give back to that community. We want to support that community. We want to stay involved in the community. So I would say definitely check out those resources. Find a ton of information there, and there's a way to get in contact with me. There's a way to get in contact with anyone at NowSecure through that website as well.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you, Michael, for joining us on
Thank
Security
you.
Weekly.
Pleasure.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.